What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react to a video called Why Norwegians Don't Immigrate to the United States. So today, I want to continue watching this video because honestly, I think us Americans could get a lot out of this, hearing outside opinions and perspectives on the United States that we never really hear here in the US. So far, I've learned the harsh truth that Norwegians don't really choose to move here to the US because it's just better in Norway. Or at least that's what a lot of Norwegians think, apparently. So today, I want to take a look at the rest of this video and learn more about why Norwegians think this, that Norway is just a better place to live than America. So let's take a look.
Even if you move to wages and work, the story doesn't flip. Measured in average wages adjusted for purchasing power, the U.S. is a high-income country, but Denmark and Sweden are also among the higher-wage OECD economies, and Sweden isn't far behind. The key difference is time, right? OECD-based data show U.S. workers putting in roughly 1,750 to 1,800 hours a year on average, while workers in Denmark,
Okay.
Sweden, and Norway are down around 1,350 to 1,450 hours.
What? I've never heard that statistic before. Here in the US, we don't have the best work-life balance, and a lot of Americans are very unhappy and probably depressed, honestly, with their job and how much you are expected to work and how bad our benefits are. When you stop and think about it, we don't like to talk about this in the US, but there are a lot of problems, and this is certainly the amount we work. And so she's saying, like Norway, other parts of Scandinavia, like Sweden or Denmark, you guys make a lot of money, but you don't have to work as much. You get to live your life. That's a pretty big reason to live somewhere. That has a lot to do with your happiness.
That's on the order of 300 to 450 extra hours of free time per year for the typical Nordic worker, weeks of life Americans are spending at work instead of with their families are resting.
Oh boy. It's hard to even argue against these criticisms because it's just like facts, It's just like data, stats. Yeah. in this sense, like it does sound like it'd be better to be in Norway. Like you get to have a lot more of your life. It's pretty important. Longevity and health. Oh boy.
And despite Americans working more and the U.S. spending far more per person on healthcare, life expectancy here is several years lower. Recent figures put the
Wow.
Nordics around 82 to 83 years, while the U.S. has slipped back into the upper 70s. In practice, it's work more, live less versus work less, live longer.
Oh my God, this is so bad. This is so bad for the US. Wow. Yeah. It's funny because a lot of Americans really think that the United States is the greatest country in the world, that we are better than others and we do everything the best. And I think it's because a lot of Americans don't even know what life is like outside of the US, how places like Norway and do a lot of this stuff better. Like a lot of Americans are so ignorant, we don't even know. And yet we still think we're the best. Like we're good at some things, but geez, we literally don't live as long as Norwegians. Pretty important stuff. Okay, troll arguments, taxes and benefits.
So, because I know this is going to show up in my comment section, let's talk about taxes. Yes, headline tax rates on income and consumption are higher in the Nordics, but Americans pay what you can honestly call private taxes, really. We pay lower income tax, then get hammered by premiums, deductibles, co-pays, out-of-pocket bills,
Yeah,
thousands per month for childcare and years of student loan
yeah,
repayments.
yeah,
What
yeah.
we save in taxes often gets eaten up and more than eaten up in private bills. A Swede pays tax.
She knows her stuff. That's so true. Like a lot of Americans are very scared of other countries' tax systems and taxes paying for healthcare. That sounds amazing. Instead, we think we're saving money in America with lower taxes. Just what she said. We pay for the healthcare, monthly payments to your plans, paying a percentage of your treatment that insurance doesn't cover, paying for. Isn't university free in Norway? Oh my God. Yeah, there's an example. In America, like you have to, a lot of college and university is like 10,000, 15,000 every semester. That would be low, okay? That would be considered cheap. 10,000 bucks 2 times a year. So 20,000 a year for education. How the heck is a 18-year-old even supposed to have that?
To the state and in return gets guaranteed services, healthcare, schooling, parental leave, and a stronger income safety net. An American pays premiums to an insurance company for the right to keep paying a deductible later. They fund a functioning social infrastructure. We fund gatekeepers and billing departments, right?
Wow. Benefits package versus social salary.
The way benefits are structured here is a scam dressed up as generosity. In the US, employers sell you on a total compensation package, right? We've all heard that. Health, dental, and a 401k, but those benefits are golden handcuffs. They're tied to your job. So if you get laid off or you want to start your own business, your health care and retirement security go with them.
That's true. That's funny because in America, if your job gives you healthcare coverage, you're like celebrating. You're like, yes, greatest job ever. Like, but a lot of Americans get stuck in that mindset, and we don't even realize it's like a trap. It's not a good thing that our healthcare is tied to our job. That's not a good thing. But so many Americans are struggling that when your job gives you healthcare and any benefits really, Americans are like, thank you, this is the greatest. It's like, no. As soon as you learn about the stuff that you're doing in Norway or other Scandinavian Nordic countries, only then do you realize that we're kind of being tricked here.
In Nordic countries, the core protections are part of social citizenship. Healthcare, unemployment benefits, parental leave, and pensions are built into the national systems, and the safety net follows the
Wow.
person, not the employer.
Wow. Wow. So it's just a part of being a citizen in like Norway. Wow. None of that stuff is guaranteed here in the US. No, not at all. The crime argument. Crime. Okay.
The crime narrative is another place where selective framing does a lot of work, right? It's true that Sweden has seen a real increase in gun-related gang violence and shootings compared with other Western European countries. But even with that spike, its intentional homicide rate is just above 1 per 100,000 people.
Okay.
The US, by contrast, sits around 5 to 6 per 100,000, several times higher. So
Ugh.
even in what Swedes themselves call a crime crisis, their cities, by the numbers, are still a lot safer from lethal violence than many supposedly normal American cities.
That's embarrassing for us. Yeah, I've heard Sweden is having some problems. I didn't know that our crime rates and our murder rates are so high. Even when other countries are having a crisis, we still have more deaths per 100,000 people. It doesn't even matter the total, or it's not even based on population. We just have higher crime based per 100,000 people. So,
Let's talk about the shithole countries, Donald. You called them that, but you left out who dug the hole. A lot of the states sending migrants north today weren't just unlucky, they were systematically exploited and destabilized by the very countries now complaining. Take Haiti. After fighting off slavery and French colonialism, Haiti was forced to pay an independence indemnity to France for decades. Historians and economists estimate that when you include lost growth and interest, that added up to tens of billions of dollars in today's money. The United States later occupied Haiti from 1915 to 1934, took control of its finances, and pushed constitutional changes that helped
Wow.
open land and key resources to foreign interests.
Oh my God. I gotta be honest. I didn't even know all that about what the U.S. has done, and I think it's because this is not stuff that we like to talk about in the U.S. We don't talk about this.
And let's look at Central America. Today, you point at migrants from places like El Salvador and Guatemala and talk about failed states. In the late 20th century, the U.S. poured money, weapons, and training into brutal civil conflicts across the region, backing regimes and armed groups that
My
committed
God.
massive human rights abuses in the name of anti communism and corporate stability. When you help fuel civil wars, crush democratic movements, and prop up authoritarian regimes, you don't get to act surprised when people flee north. The Congo's another example. The country
I mean, this sounds like it could be a whole history lesson. Stuff, American history that we're not taught because it's not pretty. Um, but I'd be inclined to believe a lot of this. Like, and America has certainly, like, we definitely like to focus on ourselves. I would say the U.S. As a culture is very selfish. We're taught individually to watch out for ourselves, and as Americans, like as a country, we're definitely becoming like going towards sort of anti-immigration in general, and maybe not across the board, but like depending on where you're from and rather than just like the quality of your character or what each person has to offer the US or you know it's not good. It's not good, but it is a reality. So yeah, it sounds like other countries like Norway don't you don't have these sorts of conflicts or these sorts of issues.
his first democratically elected prime minister, Patrice Lumumba, was removed and killed in 1961 in a context of Cold War meddling and Western interest in Congolese minerals. After that, Western powers tolerated long-running authoritarian rule while companies continued to extract copper, cobalt, uranium, and other resources on favorable terms. That's not random chaos, it's structured exploitation.
Jeez. Jeez. I thought it was just the British. I thought it was just like the British Empire that did stuff like that. Yeah. Like joking aside, I didn't even know the U.S. did stuff like that. It's bad, and we need to be like taught more about that.
Norwegians, Swedes, and Danes aren't flooding the U.S. because their own societies are already designed to invest in ordinary people's security and quality of life. The countries you sneer at as shitholes are sending
Ugh.
people here because the rich states that dominate the global system spent generations extracting wealth from them and undermining their stability. People in Scandinavia have
Jeez.
safety nets. People in the U.S. have benefits packages. People in Scandinavia have bought
We Something big I'm taking away from this video is here in the US, we are like being tricked into thinking life is great. And there's so many little things where if Americans could just open the blinds, see outside of the America bubble that we're in, there are so many quality of life improvements we could make just by doing some of the things that other countries like Norway are doing. That's crazy.
People in Scandinavia have bodily autonomy. People in large parts of the U.S. have state-mandated pregnancy. People in Scandinavia have a coherent social contract. People here are told that survival itself is a luxury that has to be earned in the marketplace. I hope that helps answer your question, Donald.
Right, she was talking about how Donald Trump is wondering why more people from Norway don't immigrate here. And after listening to this, I can easily see why. Oh my God. I mean, from the Norwegian point of view, the US must sound terrifying. I will say it's not like I'm fortunate enough myself to be like, middle class, comfortable, I get by, I'm okay. Um, so that experience of living in the United States like that, you can be pretty happy. It's not like all doom and gloom like this would suggest, but for a lot of Americans who are less fortunate, um, life can be pretty terrible. Uh, and the frustrating thing is, it sounds like the US could do so much to make life better for Americans. We could change our policies, we could adjust our benefits, we could have a new tax system, a new healthcare system. And there are other countries like Norway who are examples of what to do, but we just don't. And we don't even talk about it changing. So that's why I think it's so important for Americans to check out videos like this and hear stuff like this. And I hope one day America can like adapt and learn something and change and be better. Because it's hard because we already think we're the best, but after seeing this video, I can absolutely see we have so many things to improve on. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on why people, particularly Norwegians and Scandinavian countries, don't immigrate to the US. That'd be interesting to hear more about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and seeing Norwegian things I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.